sure those of you that are joining us today feel the same way. We're talking about healing the inner child today with Bharti Rakheja, who's a life coach and she's the founder and director of MindRisers. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sukirti Gupta. I'm the co-founder of Sipping Thoughts. Sipping Thoughts is a multi-platform media company that was set up by me and by Meeta Gudgutia. It was set up keeping in mind the tagline, Real Women, Real Thoughts. We want to create a no judgment platform and create a network of women for women, and of course, for all the men that have supported us. Sipping Thoughts, we reach to about 2.5 million women on a monthly basis. We're available on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we have our website. So please do check it out. A lot of very interesting content. You can catch up with our webinars, you can see our past webinars, and there's a whole host of content that I'm sure will intrigue you. But today we're going to talk about something that's very deep: anger, hurt, guilt, fears. So, where do these all come from? So, according to Bharti and a lot of the people that are out there, that they're coming from the pain that is deep rooted in our childhood emotional experiences. And we can heal our wounded inner child and unfold a new, beautiful life for ourselves. Today, we've got with us founder and director of MindRisers, Bharti, who is a dynamic personality, a passionate life coach, an exquisite soft skills trainer, and an exemplary public speaker. She comes from a background in psychology, and she's had 18 years of experience in that field, which gives her a very, very strong understanding of human behavior. And that reflects in the personality of her work. I mean, what is astounding is that Bharti has impacted over 10,000 people and has empowered them towards a healthier and happier life through training and coaching. She has a vision of empowering humans as great leaders that come alive with her brainchild MindRisers, which is an organization that stands a class apart with its values and its purpose. So, Bharti, welcome. We're so excited to have you on Sipping Thoughts with us.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Sukirti. And thank you so very much for having me here with Sipping Thoughts this evening. I'm really glad and excited.
So, Bharti, tell us your journey from psychology to life coach and now towards kind of this holistic type of training that you're doing.
Okay, Sukirti, my journey has been really, a roller coaster, I must say. And being into this field of emotional wellness wasn't a straight lined decision, I would say. I started off, I finished my college, I finished my studies, education in a different field altogether into commerce. I did my MBA from Pune Symbiosis. But soon after, life had something else in store for me. I had to realize my purpose and passion for life. So henceforward, came upon certain experiences that put me into a space of reflecting myself, reflecting upon my past, my present, and my future as I aspired it to be. And the journey wasn't easy, I would say, but it wasn't as traumatic. But then there was a lot of thinking, a lot of realizations that happened over the time. After I got married, I shifted from Nagpur to Delhi, which was by itself a cultural change, a huge shift, and also the lifestyle change. There's a lot of difference, between the two states, the two cities, I would say. And I started missing myself, keeping super busy with work, with purpose, right? So here I got into a typically business family where I was supposed to sit at home or go out shopping and venture out with kitty parties, friends and stuff. And that wasn't really helping me live happily and in a contented manner. So I decided to pursue something that just would come my way. Psychology had always been my interest. I had always been intrigued by human behavior. By default, I had been observing people around me and making my own notes, reading a lot of stuff. So, psychology was an obvious choice after that. So, I thought, why not? If I have to use time, use this way. I started reading, I got into my master's, I finished my master's, work started coming on my way. And slowly, from being a psychologist to a psychotherapist, then now into coaching, absolutely a wonderful and awesome journey. The first thing that happened to me after taking up this line, I healed myself first. And the healing that happened to me, I had a small phase of depression myself, Sukirti, when I was in this transition. So that actually came upon me with a purpose, with a message that if I can heal myself with such immense knowledge, power, and skills, it becomes my duty, my purpose of life to heal others and help others live unleashed lives.
What a beautiful story. I want to ask you, I know COVID, I mean, of course, hopefully we're coming to the end phase, has been very difficult for a lot of people. You as a life coach, you as a psychologist, and what have you been seeing as the main issues that people are facing?
Honestly, Sukirti, it was less. I would still say not. It was not less, of course, but then for me, it was less of a physical trauma for people. Of course, the disease itself is deadly. So many people, died because of this. But it had been equally traumatic emotionally. So many people, I know, they have anxiety issues, fears issues, anger issues. The relationships are going to a toss because of the extended lockdown, and people are not used to living with each other for such a long span of hours in a day and night. Everybody in a normal course goes out, work, school, college, etc., and people have their own me time as well. But because of COVID, they were forced to live with each other, and sadly, on the other side, a lot of trauma, a lot of abuses came up to the fore, with children, with adults, and even with the married couples also. So that's a sad side, even a worse side of it that I have witnessed. And I'm trying my level best to help people as much as possible through my sessions, whether they are personal sessions or lives like this, and or group sessions as well. So healing is my passion and purpose of life.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. And with that, I turn it over to you, and let's begin this journey together.
All right. So before we begin, Sukirti, I would like to know from our audience, and I want them to know first that I wish to have an engaging and interactive session, in this manner, that we have a good audience here, a good number of audience. I'm so glad. So, Sukirti, can you be on the chat box and just we can keep this engaging in some way?
Absolutely. Please do keep writing to us. Please do keep telling us your thoughts. I think Bharti will also be asking you lots of questions. So I will be telling her back those responses. She's also going to go through an exercise with us at the end. So it's going to be very experiential
Yes,
also.
absolutely. I need to mention this. I'll be sharing a few slides here. Then we would be undergoing a very nice experiential session, a 7 to 8 minutes exercise that is going to be life transforming, of course, for some, and definitely reflective for some others. I would like to know from them, Sukirti, what are their expectations, because they have come here, they have spared time. I'm sure they must be having something in their minds about this program today. So let's know from them.
Absolutely. I would love to know what would you like to understand from this session, or what was your curiosity in attending? So a lot of people are ready, so we're still waiting for them to kind of chime back. Very tough time I had emotionally, so I think some people are going through that. Uh, Gayatri is asking, do we need a pen and paper?
So pen and paper always helps, Sukirti. They might want to take some notes, some insights might come forward. And the exercise is totally self-reflective. So after we are done with the exercise, they might want to write something for themselves.
Uh, Susmita says helping everyone around us. So that's hopefully what we will get from this session. Psychology is something I love, so that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
As I don't enjoy my childhood and I don't know when the child inside me will die, so I expect some insight about healing my inner child. Vishvi says traumatic experiences. Sukriti says healing through the tough times post COVID. Want to recover from the hurting words uttered by my mother, letting go of the death of parents, says Vanita. Tanisha says I have trauma issues. Ziba says I'm expecting to be more productive. Nikita says I'm an educator. I want to resolve some internal turmoil.
Okay. That's awesome. I'm so glad that people have really come up with some set of expectations, and I wish and I pray and I'm trying my level best to meet up almost all the expectations by the end of the session. Most of the queries, the questions would be answered, and I'm hoping myself for the same. So, should we get started with the
Yes,
slides?
absolutely. Let's get started.
No, thank you. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is. Perfect.
Right. So, this inner child healing, as we have been hearing a lot about this these days. We have also been so many people are conducting sessions about this, and this is really a very, very empowering technique in psychotherapy, which helps you understand yourself better. It helps you to understand those behaviors, those sudden outbursts, emotional, like anger, maybe some hurt, some pain, sometimes fears, sometimes, a lot of negative thinking that happens. So we start doubting ourselves, we start doubting our lives. We fail to understand, certain behaviors, how they just erupt, leaving you feel regretful or in pain, further traumatized. So, a lot of questions that are unanswered. This session, this program is all about addressing to those issues, addressing to the past challenges that you might have experienced, and then understanding more about yourself so that deep within yourself you can heal yourself. So, as we go ahead, I would be talking more about what this inner child is. Firstly, allow me to congratulate each one that is present here. So, Kirti, I'm really, really glad that people have now started, addressing themselves even more strongly and powerfully. They have started giving themselves more importance these days, and I'm really, really glad about it, which is really needed. Of course, Sukirti ने बहुत अच्छा introduction मेरा already दे दिया है. So this is all about me. I'm a personal success coach. I am a parent teen coach. I work with parents and their teenagers. I have my base in psychology and psychotherapy. Graphologist had, graphology has been intriguing me for a long time. So I just learned that as well. I can help you form your, develop a signature that helps you for success and happiness. I'm a motivational speaker and a Bharatanatyam artist by passion.
That's a lot of hats.
Thank you. Now, coming straight to the point, right? What is inner child first? So, a lot of people get confused. जब हम बात करते हैं inner child की, they just get confused कि who is this inner child? Is it somebody else? Is it me, myself during my childhood? What particular age do we refer to when we talk about the inner child? So, before we get here, I want to ask the audience कि how many of us are experiencing sudden outbursts of anger, fear, anxiety, or pain, or some emotional outburst which we are not able to understand even?
Lot of me.
I understand, Sukirti, and me too.
And I'm part of that me. So I just definitely like emotional outbursts. I do get that.
And sometimes we can't label the emotions also. Sadly, in India, we are always falling short of the emotions vocabulary, Sukirti. So all we know is I'm feeling very good, I'm feeling very bad. So we fail to understand what this bad is. So it could be anxiety. Anxiety and excitement also is confused, right? It's confusing. So anxiety is intense fear and worry about the future that may or may not happen. Anger is anger, we all know that, right? By ourselves, or maybe we have experienced anger from other people, we know it all. But there are also emotional experiences, like, you have deep guilt about something that you did in the past, or you have regrets, or you have anxiety. Then depression is so commonly used term now. It is so commonly used. It may be, extreme sadness for some time, but for it to become depression, it has to have a clinical base there. It has to be, fall into those categories so as to be called as depression. But people are experiencing emotional outbursts someday or the other, sometime or the other in their lives, and they fail to understand where it comes from. So after that storm gets over, they are left confused, they are left devastated, because all it does is it impacts your relationships with yourself, with your people around you, who are the most valuable people in the world. Like, right, it leaves you feeling guilty. Absolutely, it may land you up in extreme sadness and lack of energy. Totally, there could be unexplained fears, as we all experience sometime or the other. There could be depression for a long time, or extreme sadness for a long time, which you are not able to handle, which you think that it seems to be out of control. All of these, or some of these, or even more than these, they all could be connected to some past memories or experiences that were left unattended. Maybe, we all have had some experiences wherein We wanted our parents to behave in a certain way and they did not. We wanted our teachers or our peers to behave in a certain way and they did not. So they could not meet up to our expectations as a child. And as a child, we used to think differently, right? We do understand here that I, as an adult and at this age, I have a larger perspective about other people, about life, about the world. But when I was a small child, I never had this understanding why people behave the way they do, right? They might be coming from their best of intentions for us, our family, our loved ones, our caregivers. But if they tried to discipline us in a certain way, if they were busy in their own world for whatever good reason, and I felt unattended, unloved, not being responded to in the manner I wanted them to. It is more of a matter of perspective than the experience. Then I carried some emotional experience within myself during that situation, during that event when it happened. And then because it was left unattended, I am still carrying it in my deepest of memories. So it might be coming out of my unconscious mind, which I am still not aware of. Hence the question marks, why am I behaving the way I am? We are just left devastated, thinking and thinking about it. Okay, what went wrong? Why did I lose myself out? Why did I hurt my child so much? Why did I speak to my mom that way? Right? And all of this falls in place once we understand where it is coming from. So I'm sure that whatever questions, whatever expectations people have out of this session, most of it would be met.
Richa has a question, and maybe we can address that here. She says, I don't agree. It can also be the experience and the consequences too.
Of course, Richa, it could be, and so it can be different for different people. I said it's all about the perspective at that time when you were experiencing that situation. So we do agree here that not everybody, so 100 people in the same situation will not face the same experience, will not have the same emotion developing at that time. So it is definitely about your own experience, including the consequence of that event, that situation, or that person, whatever he's saying or doing to you. I hope that answers the query.
Otherwise, we'll come back to it in the Q&A.
Sure. So it's like an open loop left unattended and which needs healing, which needs attention, which needs a closure. So inner child healing is one of the ways of dealing with such trauma or experience which is left unattended, and we can come back to it, we can heal it, we can nurture it, nourish it, so that we can further move ahead in our lives with more potential, with more energy and positivity. Does inner child really exist? So yeah, so many people asking me this question, what is this inner child and does it really exist? So of course it does not exist physically. It does not, it is actually a metaphoric representation of your deep rooted experiences, emotional experiences, so to say. It is not there literally, but it is definitely there in your subconscious mind. Why inner child? Because it has mostly to do with your childhood, right? So it can be as early as 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or as late as 17, 18 years as well. Okay, so this childhood experience, why is it called as inner child? Because a child has its own qualities and his own way of thinking, right? So a child will not think adult like, or an adult finds it difficult to think childlike. So a child is more spontaneous, more creative, more, doesn't bother about what people say. But if at that time, if in during those years, if the child has been having those experiences of, on one side, a lot of scolding, a lot of disciplining, harsh discipline, punishments, etc., have happened, or on the other extreme side, some abuse, molestation, or even sexual abuse or physical abuse has happened, that leaves the child in trauma. So this child continues to be in pain. We have aged, we have come up to this age to become an adult, but mostly we are not adults, right? We have grown up in size and age, but then the child is still there waiting for that kind of a closure to come in his life, right? So these memories about these emotional experiences when you were treated not in the manner you wanted to be treated by parents, by siblings, by relatives, the extended family, the people around you, the peers, the teachers, whomsoever with with you have have had those experiences, they leave an impact on this inner child and leave it wounded. And since we were all children at that time, that child still continues to be in us, right? We continue to experience this child, whether in terms of pain and sometimes in terms of joy as well. We would take a look at that. So basically, the outbursts, the sudden emotional outbursts are actually the cries of this inner child who is wanting to have your attention back and who wants and claims and cries for this healing. It is actually the entire spontaneous potential, creativity, love, all the positivity of a child encaged into this adult who is wanting to live up to the expectations of the world, the society at large, and the duties, right? So, and it can continue to be engaged in these past painful memories unconsciously. We may continue to live in the shackles, we may continue to live with our limitations, but we all know, we all are experiencing the drawbacks of it, right? It is affecting our lives in a drastic manner, but it is up to us. If we want to heal ourselves, if we want to close our loops, we definitely can. So what are these are some of the experiences that lead to a wounded inner child, right? So if you were taught that it is not okay to have your own opinions, maybe you were punished or scolded badly when you were trying to speak up or act differently. We know that children are very spontaneous by nature. They do not stop themselves, or they do not fear what people think or they might think about me. But when they're punished or scolded, and this is
I
repeatedly,
think you need to take a break to take a glass of water.
thank you. Thank-
Yeah, I,
I'm so sorry.
no worries, it happens. I have to keep like two bottles next to me.
So, and maybe you were discouraged from playing or having fun. So these might sound as simple experiences now for us, right? But when I, as a child, I might have been very, very sensitive about certain things. So different children respond differently to different situations, even to the same situations. But if I had been overly sensitive about it, maybe I was carrying my own expectations that I felt more bad, when my mother scolded me, or when I had a tiff or a fight with my peers. Maybe that left an impact on me differently, and it leaves a different impact on different children. But if that left such an impact on me that I still feel devastated, maybe I'm not aware about it anymore, but it might be there in my unconscious mind and it's still playing upon me. Maybe you were not allowed to be that spontaneous or have fun. Maybe you were not allowed to show those strong emotions then, क्योंकि हम बच्चों को तो, we know that as parents now we are doing that to our children also unknowingly, when they are making a lot of noise or something, so we do not go and tell them gently, or we do not set rules, we do not have strategies how to parent them. So we end up just managing it in the short term. So if we are feeling over embarrassed, we tell the child, we somehow धमकी दे दिया और काम खत्म करो, वैसे हो जाता है कि okay, I just want to bring him aside and tell him, dare you do this now, right? So a sensitive child will get emotionally traumatized. He may get like that, right? He may experience that. But it is different about different people. Maybe you were shamed by your parents or family members. So much stress being put upon marks and education these days. There is a likelihood that our children might grow up with such pains and emotional outbursts.
So true, because I think a lot of people are saying, I mean, this could also be a parenting session because the parents that are here, I think we're also reflecting as to our behaviors also and how they might be impacting our children.
Yeah, that's another benefit of getting back into the awareness, Sukirti. If we become aware of how things work, how they worked for us, then we can change the strategies, we can change our approach towards our children, right? And of course, physically, smacked, beaten, or even abused and molested. It does leave a major impact on the personality overall. And maybe so it could just be a lack of physical affection also. It all depends upon the perspective of the child, the perception of the child, the expectation of the child, how he wanted to be loved and he was not loved that way, right? How do you know that your inner child is wounded? So Kirti, you might have to keep a track on time because I just get into the flow and continue.
There are lots of questions coming in, so Bharti, I'm already going to warn you.
Okay. So if you think in every almost every situation that something is wrong with me, right? We do have this tendency sometimes, okay, what did I do wrong that has led to this situation? If my child is not studying well, if my boss is not happy with me, if my husband is not happy with me, maybe if we have had a fight with somebody, what did I do that led me into this or led, other people into this? If this is the tendency, if there are anxiety issues, if there are a lot of unexplained fears which you do not understand, if you think that you are a people pleaser person, that you do not have the courage to express your own self, if you have a different viewpoint, maybe there is a challenge with your self identity, your worth and inadequacy, right? And you find it hard to let go. This is majorly seen. You find it difficult to forgive others and to forget things, and you are a big time self critic, of course, unforgiving to self and others, and you have trust issues. There is a tendency to cling to relationships, even the toxic ones, right? We understand this. And if this is so, then we understand that there is something that needs healing. There is something in the past, there is something about this inner child that needs attention. We understand this. Now, if so, ऐसे तो लगेगा कि almost all of us are wounded, in our childhood.
I was just going to say that.
Right, I'm sounding myself that way, but I let me clarify here. Again, I repeat, it is all about how a child takes it. तो बहुत मस्त मौला बच्चे भी होते हैं who need not bother about anything, right? They do not bother, they do not care, what went wrong or why mommy and papa are fighting. There could be some exceptions like that, but in difficult families, in broken families, in difficult couples, it is being seen that if you develop certain fears and emotional experiences during your childhood, it does continue to impact your entire life, and upon all of these areas of life, they get impacted. It has been seen that agar aapka inner child weak hai, wounded hai, so it will affect you, it might affect you in some way in your health and fitness, in your social life, in your family life, in your relationships, in your own self esteem, your own relationship with yourself, and the overall quality of life gets impacted negatively. The reason is that the inner child holds the emotions, so our subconscious mind understand things more in the, it is more about, less about the memory, less about the experience, but more about the emotion you experienced in those situations when those things happened to you. So it is more about the emotion, right? Aapko hurt feel hua, aapko pain feel hua, you got angry but you were not allowed to ventilate yourself, so that stayed inside of you. You continue to feel that, क्यों ऐसा किया, क्यों ऐसा किया, you could not close it, you could not come back and tell that person that, listen, this is how I'm feeling. One, because we also were lacking vocabulary at that time, and we were also lacking courage at that time because we were scared of our elders, right? So we could not express ourselves completely as we wanted to. So these memories, which become a hardcore part of the subconscious mind, then leads us into those triggered emotions, those triggered bouts of anger, anxiety, fear, and whatnot. So these emotions need to be addressed. वो कहीं कोने में बैठ के अभी भी वो बेचारा छोटा सा inner child, still crying, still seeking attention, still seeking the closure, still seeking the ventilation. I remember this movie Highway. Sukirti, I'm sorry I use a lot of movie examples, but that,
Yeah, no, no, that one was very, I mean, it stuck in my mind too. So go ahead.
yeah. So that was a perfect, example of the wounded inner child, the child being abused physically, sexually during her childhood, and how she releases herself right at the climax of the story. And that was an amazing turn, Sukirti, I just recalled, right? Of course, does the inner child come out and play? We all know that, right? So when we find ourselves, craving for an ice cream right in January when it is the peak of winters, when we are craving to go out crazily, when everybody else is sitting at home during the lockdown, that is your inner child craving to come out and play and do all those pranks, those spells of laughter, the dancing moments, that happen just suddenly like this. And you just want to be yourself. Whenever these moments come, enjoy your inner child, because that is your inner child wanting to just pop out of you and play with you, right? So it does have a good side as well, because we would agree upon this, that we all have had bad experiences as well as good experiences in our childhood, right? Children have a great coping ability, so they do manage to switch quickly. जैसे ही थोड़ा सा सब कुछ ठीक होता है, they are back to their joyfulness, they are back to their playfulness, right? So we do have a positive side of the inner child as well. But as we grow up into being, adults, so to say, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग becomes the norm. So we just stop ourselves from playing, from being playful, from being joyful. फिर society relationships इंडिया में तो वैसे ही बहुत ज्यादा कि what will people say, what will people say. Now at this age she wants to learn dancing, at this age she wants to do certain things. So if you get to work, you might spoil your family, you might lose out your work life balance. With women, it usually still happens, right? In this, even in this modern world. So what we can do now, so of course it's a choice. You want to continue with the pains, you want to continue with the cage, you want to continue with those traumatic emotional experiences, so be it. It is affecting your life in several ways, it will continue to affect. But if you want, and if you will, you know only then the inner child can be healed. What we need to do for this healing is first get into the awareness that I need healing, right? हमारा body में pain होता है, so toothache होता है, my there are some cramps happening in my stomach or my joints paining. I will not think twice to go to a doctor, right? But when my emotional side needs healing, I mean, I would think 100 times before that. I would talk to 100 people about it, and then 100 people will convince me in 100 ways. No, 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 no. You don't need any such help. You are just normal. It is just a phase and stuff like that. Oh, I can. I'm here to listen to you. You talk to me. I can talk to you. I can suggest you. I can advise you. No, it is not about advice. It is not about suggestion. It is a proper technique. It's a proper skill that people are trained in. People like me are trained in, and we need to go to the right person, right? You have a toothache and you will not go to an orthopedic for that, right?
So,
You have
Bharti,
to
I'm going to ask you this question because I think a lot of us love this self help and self healing, and everything can be learned on the internet through Google.
uh,
Can you heal yourself? Can you heal your own inner child?
okay, yes, we can heal our own inner child. We definitely can, Sukirti. And today this effort is being made on that direction only. And mostly, my approach is like this, Sukirti. The people who know me well, that when I do the sessions with them, it is not about me being the moderator and the facilitator and they being the client forever, but it is more about educating them on this emotional side, on this skill side, helping them develop the skill set so that they are empowered forever. They need not come to me, for endless number of sessions. So we are together for a number of sessions. We do the healing, we do the learning, and then we are off. Bye bye. If at all we need follow ups, we do them. Otherwise, the person can continue to heal and treat herself or himself, and they are good forever, right? So today also I'm going to make this attempt. We have a small activity now that we have the house full. We have a nice experiential activity, Sukrit, which I want to get into. First, let me explain the process, how it goes. So we meet our inner child, right? किसी से भी किसी को heal करने के लिए मुझे मिलना पड़ेगा ना पहले, being a therapist. So I meet my inner child. I acknowledge his existence. I need to do that, right? Because that is what it is craving for. I need to listen to my inner child, what he or she wants to tell me, what went wrong, how it went wrong, how did I mistook it, or how did people misbehave with me. and then nurture this inner child. Every child needs nurturance and nourishment to grow healthily, right? We need to nourish, nurture, and this is how the healing happens. And then you can enjoy playing with your inner child every day. You can find time, you can fix up meeting with your inner child every day. You might want your inner child to come up and let's have a good playful time with each other, so that the child inner child continues to feel nourished, cared for, and attended to, right? This is the process that I'm going to help you with. And this is the difference between a wounded and a healed inner child, right? So a wounded inner child continues to play the victim role, right? I am this, I am that, because of this I'm not successful, because of that I'm not happy, my life is like this only, I'm the most unfortunate person in the world, and what not. So we need to understand that this inner child, if it is wounded, then this is what we are always insecure with ourselves. We always look for external validation, and believe me, I have been through almost all of these things, to be very honest and very transparent here. I have had phases wherein I was also one of these, but when I healed myself I understood the difference. We get easily triggered, है ना, रोना भी बहुत जल्दी आएगा, anger भी बहुत जल्दी आएगा, mostly serious, sadist, so looks for the negative in everything. So there are people I know, so Kirti, we most of us would agree on this, that there are some people who are champions at finding the negativity into every situation and every person.
Fault
And
finders.
after being transformed, I am a person who would not find negative in anybody at all. I mean, the other day I was telling one of my clients also, I end up making friends with almost everybody I meet. Yeah, but what is this? So that's the height of transformation and healing, right? So you're always filled with stress and worry. So life at every phase brings up different sets of challenges for us, right? There are different turns which brings different kind of difficulties, challenges, phases, questions. And if we are not healed within, we are more prone to stress and worry. And if we are more prone to stress and worry, more dominated by negative emotions, our physical health definitely gets impacted. But for me, physical health being impacted is the last thing that happens. Before that, the internal trauma, the emotional diseases coming up, and only after that is built up for a very long time, it results into the physical diseases, right? The pains, the aches, the joints, and so many other problems. Now, these researchers also confirm now that most of the diseases, physical ones, have psychosomatic roots. We need to understand. But if the inner child is healed, then we learn to take ownership. Yes, I did this, that was wrong. There's no harm in this, right? We feel more confident about ourselves. Whatever I am, whoever I am good, right? I'm complete. I forgive myself and I forgive others easily only if I'm healed. I can enjoy my solitude time, and believe me, I can, Sukete. I do enjoy my solitude time. I do crave for it sometimes. And if you can enjoy your solitude, you are completely healed, right? You're okay with yourself. You don't dread your own company. You are calm and you are understanding, right? You always look at the positive in everything. You are filled with light and love, and that is why you glow, right? You have the capacity now to create joy and happiness for yourself and for the people around you. This is what we call as aura, Sukirti. That there are some people who we find so magnetic in their personalities, no matter how they look, what their color of skin is, or how they are dressed up, but they are so magnetic, they are so attractive, we would want to go up to them and sit with them and have a chat with them, right? So these are the people who have a higher aura, and because they have healed themselves from within. With your permission, Sukirti, can I share a story of a client here?
Please do.
So I've named him Jack. This was my client, and I, of course, the name is changed. Jack was an angry young man, just like Amitabh Bachchan, as we say. So he had anger issues ever since he could remember it. So right from his teenage, before that as well, he remembered himself as the most angry young man ever in the world, and he was not happy with himself, he was not happy with anybody around him. So he would have these anger outbursts mostly with as he was growing up with his parents and then with his friends also, he did not have many friends. He had multiple breakups. When he came to me for therapy, he was 32 years old, having had multiple breakups and job hopping done from within 2 years in 5 different companies. And now he was at this point of questioning himself, "Okay, what is wrong with me?" Hence he came for the sessions. And as we went ahead, after understanding where he was and where things were coming from, we did a few sessions. And during the regression session, he realized that he had an abusive childhood, and he was abused physically, beaten, smacked by the mother, right? Almost every day. So mother had her own issues, right? That was revealed later. But then he developed this kind of a bad relationship with the mother, complete hatred towards the mother, and also towards the father also, because the father appeared to him as a very weak personality. Spineless is the word he used for the father, right? That much pain he was carrying within himself. And because he had hatred towards both the genders, he was having trouble with his relationships and also at his workplace. So his team was never happy with him, his boss was never happy with him, and he had to hop from one job to the other because he was not satisfied with anybody around him. So after a number of sessions, when we addressed to these issues, and then of course we have to combine it with some cognitive therapy as well. जब हमने ये समझा कि what could be their own perspective, the mothers and the fathers, where were they coming from, when he actually met the inner child, when he listened to the inner child, what he had to say. So he could realize that these are the open loops that I have been longing to close them. There was no closure to these things. I could not ventilate myself. I wanted to hit my mother back into her face, which I was not allowed to, which I was not, my values didn't allow me to. And that is why I'm carrying such pain in myself. When all of these things were revealed to him, then he understood them, he nurtured himself, he also understood the perspective of the parents, and he was healed after that. Now he is happily married with two babies.
Question for you, Bharti, and I think maybe a lot of people have it. Like when we have a person that we are struggling with, let's suppose emotionally, does the healing come because we have to heal with that person, or do we heal it just from ourselves?
So if the problem is having in the current time, present time, you mean to ask?
Present time, yes.
Right. So here we need to
A
look
lot
into.
of people, I'm seeing this question that is coming up, that they have a difficulty or an emotional difficulty with somebody else.
Right. So now we need to understand this individually. And to understand this, the person needs to reflect back and think about himself or herself. Okay, how am I contributing into this problem with this person or in this situation? Is there anything that, that maybe some percentage of it that I am contributing into this situation? And if not, if the person is not able to see any fault on his or her side, then he needs to question himself, what is keeping me in the relationship or in the job?
Okay.
Right? So individually, if you can reflect upon yourself more, and for this journaling really helps. If you start writing, reflecting upon your thoughts every day, just 1 or 2 pages, after a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you have a whole lot of realization for yourself, Sukirti. You do understand things differently then. It's very powerful. Journaling, really very powerful. I strongly recommend. And if there are some loops you want to pick up from your childhood, you can ask yourself after going through this activity, they will get a taste, a flavor of it, how the inner child can be contacted and healed. Right? So can we move
I
ahead?
think that question has also come up. How do we talk to our inner child?
Surely. Just wait for another minute and I'll take you there.
Perfect.
So here is the time for the activity that I was talking about. And so, if you all are ready, Sukirti, we all need to keep ourselves mute. I'm sure that the audience is already muted.
Yes.
And we all need to get ready. Wherever we are, we need to sit down at one place. Sometimes people do carry the phone and they are doing several things, multiple things at the same time. But for experiencing this transformational exercise, we need to be seated at one place comfortably. So, with the back straight, preferably, and in a relaxed position, seat yourself. Gently close your eyes. And as we move ahead in this activity, center yourself within, taking a soft, deep breath. Disconnect yourself actively from all the noises in the surroundings and just focus on my voice. Relax yourself completely, scanning through your entire body, starting right from your toes, slowly moving upwards. Relax your toes, your feet, your lower legs. Relax your knees. Look inside your thighs and relax them completely. Relax your waist, your back. Completely relax. Your abdominal organs, look inside. Give them a straight command to relax. Bring your attention to your chest. Relax your heart, your lungs, all the muscles around it. Actively bring your attention to your hands. Relax them and release all the tension from your neck, your shoulders, your spine. Move your attention towards your face. Relax all the facial muscles as you now focus in the center of your eyebrows. Stay there for a while as you move deeper and deeper into relaxation. Feel your body completely relaxed and soft. Imagine yourself now as a small child, as small as you remember. Observe her for a few seconds. Look at her hair, her body, her eyes, her face, her attitude and expressions. This vision, acknowledge it as your inner child. Listen to her carefully. What sounds do you hear her make? Are there any smells around her? How does she look? How does she dress? Just keep observing her for a while. Now look beside her. There is a giant bubble, a dark, scary, smoky bubble. As you look at it more closely, you look inside it. There you see sadness, pain, hurt, fear, so many dark memories inside of this bubble. Maybe you get drawn to a particular memory, like a mini movie from your childhood. Look at the emotions floating within it, feelings of heaviness, disappointment, rejection, or fear. This young little child created stories about each one of those memories or emotions. Maybe she created a story around I'm unlovable, I'm not good enough, I am not worthy, people don't love me, I'm not important, I can't have everything that I want, I don't deserve love and happiness. Acknowledge this as you now begin to cleanse yourself. As you exhale, release the heaviness of these stories. Taking a sigh, you reach out to the little girl, make her sit in your lap, embrace her lovingly in your arms, holding her close with warmth and pure love. As you do this, the smoky dark bubble diminishes slowly, little by little. You hug her, cuddle her with love, give her a soft peck on the cheek, and tell her, hey, little one, you are so beautiful. You know you've had some bitterness in your heart, hurt, pain, anger. I understand you. It is okay to feel this way. You can forgive yourself for thinking like this. As the child feels comfortable, she speaks about the trauma she has suffered. Listen to your inner child patiently. What does she have to say? Listen with full attention. Let her release all her emotions. Give her the response you wanted your caregivers to give you. Love her the way you wanted to be loved. Parent her like how you wanted your parents to do for you. Love her, hold her, accept her. As you watch her feeling comforted, the pain is slowly melting away, and a soft smile comes on her face. She looks unburdened from her long drawn pain. Take a sigh of breath, release yourself, take a step back, and observe her once again. This beautiful little child, that is you, is smiling bright. Now there appears a big bright bubble on the other side of her. The bubble is filled with laughter, creativity, dreams, joy, and love. You see within it flashes of the happy memories that were a part of your childhood, the mini joyful movies from your childhood, the happy times you spent with your family, friends, and people around you. You see the emotions floating in the bubble and feel their lightness, the joy, the light-heartedness. Just sit back and witness it all. Allow a smile to spread across your face as the little child looks at this bright bubble. See her face lighting up with joy and smile. This smile puts a glow on her face as if the soul is smiling. Remember how much she loved to play, what made her happy, what gave her joy, which activities she was very fond of doing. You can now create more memories of joy into this bubble. Stretch your arms out, embrace this gorgeous little child, and feel her pure love saturate you, reminding you that you are her and she is you, that you are special, that you are awesome. With a breath now, feel the hum of peace and calm all over your face and body. And taking a soft breath, you may now open your eyes with a smile.
That was lovely. Very tough to come back.
Yeah. I would like to know the experiences of our audiences, Sukirti.
Yes, please do share your experiences, and we'll try to take a couple of questions also. It was great. Thank you. Blissful. Such a beautiful session. Thank you. It was really nice, feeling relaxed, very calming, beautiful, great feeling. Thanks. Feels so relaxing. I could feel myself dancing freely in the park with joy. Soothing. It was so helpful. I saw a sad child turning into a happy child. Very relaxing. Lot of emojis, but there is Jyoti's still showing a sad one. I think I felt love which I wanted. Thank you, says Mohini. I did not feel like coming back. Nisha says, Ma'am, I was following your words, but soon I was lost in my thoughts.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you're finding it useful, helpful, calming.
So tell us, I mean, something about the process. So once you start this journey, how often and how long does it really take to get in touch with your inner child?
It all depends, Sukirti. If you do this practice every day, it can really heal you very fast because there's not just one experience that we hold on to from our childhood. There could be many. They could be very intense. They could be just mild. They could be connected with many people, maybe with the parents, with the family, with siblings, with friends, with teachers, with some other adults, just unknown people, strangers. So there could be many, and the more you practice, the more you heal, the faster you heal yourself. And after you feel that you have healed yourself completely, you may just want to meet your inner child every day just to play with her and enjoy.
Oh, very nice. We're going to try to take some questions very, very quickly.
Sure.
Neeta, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, like when you're dealing with the neuropatient, and it's like you try to heal yourself, but that the other person is not healing and not participating,
Mhm.
it becomes difficult. So, it's always a one way process. So, how to deal with these things, like with my daughter also, it's like always one way. I try hard, and but that it doesn't happen. What you're
So,
doing, I've done it with the meditation, I've done with the yoga sessions so many times.
mm,
I tried to contact my psychologist, a therapist, and I'm trying hard. So it's becoming difficult and difficult each day.
I understand. So besides this process, we need to look into the cognitive side as well. So how old is your daughter?
She's 35. She's
All
married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to look at it from the cognitive angle as well. So once the healing process begins, we can look at things in a different manner also. On the cognitive side, I mean to say that she's holding on to some experience.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Yeah,
we
she
need to look
does.
at
Yeah.
them. We need to understand them logically. We need to get the perspective of the person also with whom we are dealing.
When I met my psychologist, she wants to speak to her also, but then she won't go. She has her own psychologist. She goes with her husband. Yeah. So that is what I mean. If I take my husband, he doesn't want to go. So it's always one way, only one way. It's not happening. It's not healing. It's not
Without
like
the willingness and cooperation of the other person, we can't heal them, right? We understand this challenge, so we can only convince the person to come once, experience, and if at all they find it convincing and compelling, they can continue. Otherwise, again, it's a challenge. I really understand this.
The next one, sorry, we're really short on time. We'll take from Jasmine. Jasmine, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Ma'am, I would like to know, like, even I have been a very angry child. I have done all sorts of damages. Also, I would accept that I was very violent also sometimes. And then now I'm on the path of spirituality. However, I still face the communication issues with people. And I feel that something holds me back. I have aspirations, but when the time comes to go ahead, something stops me from inside. So I want to learn how to deal with it.
Yes, Jasmine. So again, anger also can be dealt with through the CBT techniques. I just spoke about the cognitive therapy technique. We need
Mhm.
so this anger is actually coming from certain beliefs that we hold in our minds, right? So in our minds, we know there are certain shoulds. Shoulds about ourselves, shoulds about others. They should do this, he should do that, she should behave with me like this in a particular manner. Now, these shoulds are our beliefs, right? We need to challenge them through the CPT technique, and we need to understand whether they are logical, they are irrational or rational, and then we can delete them, debate with them, and delete them. Right? So it
Okay.
takes a while, it takes this technique. We need to learn this and then practice it, Jasmine. I
Okay.
hope.
Yeah, so I carry on with this healing technique that we've
Please
received
continue.
today.
This gives you the power, this gives you the base of healing first, and then we understand how logically we can challenge our beliefs and understand them.
Okay.
The next question we'll take from Tanisha. I'm sorry, that's the last one
Hi.
we'll be able to take. Go ahead, Tanisha.
Hello.
Yeah,
Go
Tanisha.
ahead.
Bharti, what should we do when we feel unheard, unsung, unseen, and misunderstood in relationships? Like it happens from childhood, and the pattern is still continuing, even
I,
after marriage, even after having a baby of 13-year-old. So, how do we come out of this thing? And can our partner, life partner,
Mhm.
help us in healing this thing?
Of course, the life partner can help. If you find that the life partner is very understanding and compatible enough, so
Mhm.
that person actually becomes the healer for us, right? So,
But it is opposite then.
then it is challenging. But what you started, the question that you started with, Tanisha, um,
Unheard and unseen, misunderstood.
huh, that the communication style needs to change. And communication style needs to consider the other person's personality, and then the approach has to be set, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think
Thank you so
Divya has given me a great question for the ending. So how do we motivate ourselves to give time and love to ourselves, as we always keep others, loved ones, needs before us? And I think this is a great thought that we would like to get from you as we end the session.
I understand. And I would only, use an analogy here, okay, that you have a large bowl for yourself, right, which is empty. Can you serve out of an empty bowl? We can't, right? So we need to serve ourselves first. We need to heal ourselves first. We need to love ourselves first. We need to keep ourselves happy first, so that this happiness, wherever I go, I carry my large bowl full of happiness and I can serve everybody and anybody out of it.
And any last thoughts before we end for the night?
Life is precious, life is finite. We are here for a limited number of times, Sukirti. I want to get the maximum, squeeze the maximum out of my life. And I want each one that comes into my life, directly, indirectly, 100 people present here whom I don't know personally, but my heart goes out to each one of you present here. Heal yourself, live your life unleashed to the full potential till the last very minute you're alive.
Well, thank you. And thank you all for joining us. It was
No,
actually very, very eye opening. And thank you, Bharti, for being on Sipping Thoughts with us. I
Sukirti,
wish everyone a very good night.
thank you so much. So you can ask Sukirti for my number, my contact, if at all you want to meet me personally. Thank you.